What is happening, everyone? I'm Gav174 back again today, and welcome to another Source Shorts video. Today I'm looking into a viewer request from Phantom Ghost Level Design, who wanted to know if it was possible for SMG1 grenades to go through glass. And I assume they mean stuff like Funk Breakable and Funk Breakable Surf entities. From what they've said, pretty much whenever an SMG1 grenade interacts with anything, it blows up. And from their investigation, the best thing they were able to do was to make it so the SMG1 grenade bounces off of a Funk Breakable Surf entity and not actually punch through it. So what I'm going to do today is outline how you can make that happen. Now, I'm in a games solution right here, and it doesn't really matter if you go to server episodic or server HL2, because we're going to be going to the source files and HL2DLL. And the SMG1 grenades are actually going to be using grenade AR2, which is a little funny. And you know what? I can actually prove that to you if I go to the weapon SMG1 code. Then we need to find something like the secondary attack function. Or even here, you know, we enable the AR2 grenade and you see it creates a C grenade AR2. And I must have gone, right, now hits down here. And yep, C grenade AR2. So that means we are using this grenade AR2 code. So what we're going to do is in the section over here in C grenade AR2, which is in grenade AR2.h, we're going to be creating a couple of new variables. So in this case, I'm going to create a vector called m_vec velocity. And I'm also going to create a ball called m_b touched. So essentially the velocity vector is going to be the velocity of the SMG1 grenade prior to going through the Funk Breakable or Funk Breakable Surf. And this ball m_b touched is to indicate if we actually have hit something like a Funk Breakable or a Funk Breakable Surf. So then you want to go to grenade ar2.cpp, and at the top of the file, we can add it up here. We want to do hashtag include of Funk Breakable, I believe it is. Yeah, Funk Break, and also we want to do hashtag include of Funk Breakable Surf as well. Now, there's probably a better, more efficient way to do what I'm going to show, where you could probably just get away with using funkbreak.h, but that's going to require modifying more code than I'm willing to actually showcase. So it's going to be slightly inefficient, but you know, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you can figure out a better way of doing this on your own if you really want to. So I don't think this step, what I'm doing right here, is strictly necessary either, but you can do it for the sake of completion, I guess. And for the sake of results, you're making sure it all works okay. But if you don't understand, I'm just adding to the data desk the variables that we created. So do define field of m_vec velocity as a field vector, and the define field of m_b touched as a field boolean. So that is there. Then inside of spawn, I think we can get away with just giving an initial value for m_b touched. Give it a value of false. And you know what, if you really want to, I guess you can add, you know, m_vec velocity as a vec3 origin just to give it a stock value of 0, 0, 0. Again, I don't think that's strictly necessary, so you can do it just for safety purposes, I guess. So as soon as the AR2 grenade is spawned, then we're not going to have touched anything and our velocity is going to be 0. But then the velocity is going to be applied from whatever creates the AR2 grenade, I guess. So let's go to this section, grenade AR2 think. And what I'm going to do is, well, I chose to do it inside of m_b is live. So that means it's, you know, just went solid and, well, no, we don't need to worry about that. But m_b is live would mean that the grenade is active. So what I'm going to do in this section is to add if m_b touched, then what we're going to do is set the absolute velocity of the AR2 grenade to m_vec velocity, and it's also important to set m_b touched back to false, so we only do that for essentially 1 frame if you're running at 60 frames per second, because this set next think line is called every 0.05 seconds, and that's pretty much 60 frames per second. So for 1 frame, we're going to set the velocity of the AR2 grenade to this m_vec velocity value. So let's actually define that value. And here we're going to need to go to grenade AR2 touch, which is a touch function. And I decided after this assert p other line up here, that what we're going to do is, again, I don't know if this is the best way of doing this, so you can criticize me in the comment section down below if you want to. But we're going to check to see if the class name of p_other is a Breakable surf, as shown. Again, there's probably a better way to do that, but if it is a Breakable surf, then we're actually going to create a Breakable surf. Yeah, it's a Breakable surface. I've got my notes off to the side. If you're wondering what I'm pausing, it's just because I'm looking at the notes that I've written already. And it's kind of off to the side, so I need to look away from the microphone, so apologies. But essentially, we are going to define a Breakable surface called *p breakable, and that's a static cast of a Breakable surface of p_other, like you see here. And then if this p breakable entity is valid, so if p_other is a Breakable surf, then what we're going to do is set m_b touched to be true. Then we're going to do p breakable arrow surface touch of this, because that is the incident entity onto the p breakable. Then we're going to do m_vec velocity equals get absolute velocity at this point in time. And then we're going to return from the function, so we don't actually go down here and detonate, for example. And then we can pretty much do the exact same thing for a Breakable. So we can actually expand this to an else if we hit a Breakable, but then we just want to have a Breakable of, so a Breakable called *p breakable is a static cast of Breakable of p_other, and then inside of this section we just want to do p breakable arrow break, and then the breaker is this AR2 or SMG1 grenade. So what we can do is we can compile the solution at this point, and if I've done everything correctly, then there shouldn't be any compilation issues, and I can load into a map where there's Breakable surf and Breakable entities, and we can see if this ends up working or not. So it looks like it's compiled successfully. So let me just launch into debugging, and I do need to hide the display capture so it actually shows the game as it's supposed to. So let's see if that actually ends up working. It seems as if it has. So I believe I've got a map called D1. Oh wait, it's not in this one, is it? Okay, we can use DM lockdown. That has a Breakable surfs. There was one of the canals levels that I had. It has Breakable and Breakable surf entities. You'd probably seen that in the stock footage I've just shown you at the beginning of the video. But if we do Impulse 101, we can go to the SMG. Oh yeah, don't worry about these glowing effects. It's just from the full holstering sequence. I think it's got something to do with the gravity gun. But anyway, if we fire into the Breakable, you see it just goes right through it. And it's actually so good, it actually broke nearly all of them in one go. But yeah, you might notice there it kind of just looks as if it gets caught on something, so it doesn't quite, go straight through like you might expect. But what I'll probably do is show some footage from the canals level that I was talking about, where there's Breakable and Breakable surf entities, and you can see exactly what's going on, that the grenade just goes through, doesn't blow up on the Breakable, and it even comes back down to earth instead of flying off into the sky. That is something that I had experienced during testing. So that should be how to add the ability for SMG1 grenades to go through Funk Breakable and Funk Breakable Surf entities. And the good thing is you can pretty much expand this to any other entity like frag grenades, slams, molotovs, flares, AR2 alt-fire projectiles and stuff like that. So hopefully you found this helpful. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below as per usual. If there's any ways to improve this, then of course let me know. And yeah, take care out there and see you for the next video.